Yeah, I bought a new one that's more fall colors, like an orange and.
All right, we'll call. You said we're
I
live.
said, I'm going live.
Oh,
Give me a second.
Jump the gun.
So. Grab that gavel and take it back.
I get to hit it again?
Yeah. If you feel it. Okay.
All right, now we'll call a meeting to order the City of Kewaunee Common Council for October 9th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and one more prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Right, item 3 on the agenda, approval of September 11th, 2023 Common Council minutes. Any additions or corrections? Wendy,
8I, which talks about playground equipment on Father Marquette Park. I don't know if you all probably remember, we had a long conversation about that, and I voted no on that because I wanted Kewaunee Park. Anyway, it wasn't a unanimous vote. We had one no, like, that would be me. One nay.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes with that correction.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 4, public comment communications. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak under public comment this evening? If so, please step up and state your name and your address.
This on?
Yes, and also if you plug up to that one. it's the best way.
Okay, hi, Ron McGovern, 1121 Center Street in Kewaunee. Mine only take a few minutes. My question is on that fire hydrant charge that we've been getting. Mine is very simple. Back in the late 40s, the developer of our subdivision, before he could make the lots feasible, he needed to buy 20 feet more of land on my parcel, as well as my neighbor in the back, Joe Mills, to make the land bigger for housing. So he did that. But what he didn't do, he didn't combine the 20 feet with the existing parcel. And nobody really said nothing. As a result, we continue to get 2 tax bills every year. And nobody really said too much. You could get it changed with the title company, but you would have to pay survey charge, paperwork, which then I don't know what it was, but I know now, because I checked, it's about 250 to 300 minimum. So I told him, I said, as far as I'm concerned, leave it alone. If I get 2 tax bills every year, I care less as long as they're legitimate. But now with they're trying to put that charge on the 20 feet of land that I have, which has it is an add-on, but there's no utilities on this land whatsoever or anything. And I'm paying it already on my main bill, with the water bill and all that, that's already on there. So I just don't agree with that hydrant charge being on my adjacent 20 foot bill. 2 weeks ago, when I paid my water bill, I did pay it because I wanted to find out more about what was going on. So I feel it should be lifted. That's my opinion on it. I just don't think there's justification for that additional fire hydrant charge on my 20 foot of property. So voice my opinion. All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Is there anyone else wishes to speak under public comment this evening?
Joe Mills, 1124 Lake Street. It's on the same subject. Because I went through the packet and I printed off from the Public Service Commission. And here it does state that under Wisconsin Stat 196033B, the city of Kewaunee has elected to make the changes the charges in the schedule applicable to non-general service customers who own property that is located both within the municipal limits and in the area where the utility has an obligation. But when these new accounts were set up, apparently you didn't read 196.03 completely. Because in that statute, it does authorize a municipal utility may, in addition to including the charges in water utility bills under subsection 1, which is to the customers, the charges to any person who meets all of the following conditions. A, the person is not a customer of the municipal utility. B, the person owns land that is located in the city, village, or town. Like my neighbor, we both have that 20-foot little plot just to make it a full buildable lot. And from what it looks like you're planning on doing is submitting a plan to the Public Service Commission to try and fix it. I'll give you an easier fix. You made these accounts illegally. Just delete the accounts. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wish to speak under public comment tonight? Anyone else under public comment? Okay, if not, we'll close public comment. Item 5, boards, commissions, committee and staff reports, personnel committee, public property committee, plan commission, finance committee, public works committee and staff reports. Answer those.
Make a motion to approve the reports as submitted.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, mayor's report. I'd like to recognize this evening's service awards for retiring fire department members, acknowledging an appreciation of their service to the city of Kewaunee while serving on the Kewaunee Fire Department. Tyler Slack, 16 years. Judd Franke, 16 years. Paul Nimmer, 35 years. That's fantastic service to our community. And if you guys see them out on the street, be sure to thank them for their service. So thank you. Item 7, unfinished business. Authorize application to Public Service Commission of Wisconsin to amend Public Fire Protection Service charge tariff issued under final decision dated June 16, 2023. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so based on information that we've received to date, the council has determined that there was miscommunication between the council and or staff and or the Public Service Commission. And so we're going to be, as I understand it, the question was how to fix where we are right now, which is to charge public fire protection fees on every parcel within the water utility district, which is also the city itself, the corporate boundary. The additional properties that were used in the rate to be charged for public fire protection service were lots that had a meter attached to them, as well as the base rate for non-general service customers. Because the number of parcels was set at 303, which includes literally every property that's not metered. That's how they set the base rate in the tariff issued, the final decision issued by the PSC on June 16, 2023, which is $21.55 base rate for non-general service customers. For metered customers, the rate goes up over the course, depending on the size of the meter, as detailed on the attached to the action sheet. PSC staff was asked how to address the error, as we understand it described above, and they provided a couple of options. I'll start with option B, which is to request a conventional rate case, which was similar to what we just did. That would require that you'd have to wait a year before you could have a decision made. So it would have to occur, the revised decision would have to occur after June 16, 2024. Option A, which is the shorter process, is a PFP docket, as they call it. This request would be to remove non-general service customers from the billing process, which details out revenue loss of $39,177.90 to the city or to the city water utility. Removing these customers from the billing process means that this amount needs to be redistributed across the 1,305 currently metered accounts, which translates into as the PSC calculated, a $3.91 increase per billing cycle per meter. This is just a preliminary estimate, so it could go up or down. This is just them back of the envelope math. This is an average rate adjustment, may go up or down depending on the meter size. The advantage of the PFP docket is that it could be done in 12 to 14 weeks. For the PSC's process, it requires public hearing
From them.
from them. So they will do a public hearing in Madison in front of administrative judge, same as the regular conventional rate case. And then the decision is made at that level.
But it would be our position to alert the population here that there is this public hearing.
Yes. But the trick is that it will take 12 to 14 weeks. So the earliest you would hear a decision is probably somewhere around early mid-January, earliest. So the assumption is that the council wants to do this and wants to do it through the PFP docket rather than waiting until after next June to get a decision. So staff has already worked with our consultant on the prior conventional rate case. She has already completed the submission preparation. So if council approves it tonight, she'll fire it off tomorrow. It'll go right to the PSC tomorrow. And so we'll start the process right away. So resetting this PFP rate actually reduces the city's cost of the 303 parcels that were identified as part of the non-general rate customers. We own 61 of them. So it actually reduces the cost to the city general fund. On October 3rd, the Finance Committee voted to recommend council to authorize PSC to apply for PFP docket to amend the service charge fee to be applied only to metered water customers and not unmetered properties with unanimous vote in favor. Staff's recommendation is recommend council adopt a motion authorizing application to the PSC for PFP docket to amend the final decision issued to the city on June 16, 2023. Specifically schedule number F1, which was in the rate decision, to direct the payment of rates only to retail general service customers and remove non-general service customers from the billing process. If approved, as I mentioned, Onward Accounting is ready to file the application. So the recommended motion is I move we authorize the application to the PSC for a PFP docket to amend the final decision issued to the city on June 16, 2023, specifically schedule number F1 to direct the payment of rates only to retail general service customers and remove non-general service customers from the billing process, or move to approve staff's recommendation.
So if I can just interject too, in speaking with the city attorney, he had told me that many communities charge all the tax parcels as well as metered customers. That's becoming very common. However, that's not the council's wishes. So we're going to make this change with the PSC.
We voted.
If that's how we're voting here, but that's what I understand. And that, yeah, we have to go through the PSC process because they are the governing body on rates and billing. So
is the resolution gonna be included that we originally voted on with the?
I think Heath can respond to this process, which you kind of outlined here. I don't know what additional accompanying documentation is going to go with the change request.
That will be up to the PSC. Presumably they'll fire off a resolution that will have to be signed. The resolution that we did the last time was also fired off by the PSC. It's just a form document. All they're doing is just having it's a box checking thing. That's all they're doing. They're just checking, okay, council formally authorized. So we're checking that box and moving on. So to that extent, the prior resolution was about as clear as mud because it was intended to be. It's not intended to be a specific authorization of cases. And in this case, the PFP docket is, the actual submission is the one where you're actually saying, this is what we're asking for. We're asking to amend the prior decision specifically for the public fire protection service, the rate schedule in the previous decision. So we can remove certain of the customers and focus on other sets of customers, which will cause the rate staff to be adjusted.
So the resolution that we voted on that was signed basically is null and void because we don't go by that. Is that what I'm understanding?
The resolution that you adopted previously was just to simply say you're authorizing a conventional rate case. That's all it said. If they fire off a new resolution for us, it will be more specific to a PFP docket. I don't know if that's part of their paperwork.
It's their language, right?
It's their language.
But I guess our language, we want to be clear if that's the way this vote ends up tonight, is that we want. You've got it laid out here in your recommended motion, but it's gonna be metered customers only. It's not gonna be vacant land or tax parcels.
The original.
That's the clarity
resolution
that the council's looking for.
was clear on that.
I guess I'm a little unclear as to how we got here. Based on the resolution and based on the application was made. I went through the attachments. Under attachment 4, it says for direct charges to customer based upon a method. Other than the equivalent meters or services, detail must be submitted to the PSC supporting this method. I didn't see any detail that would support anything other than a metered method. And I guess in the resolution, it was mentioned 3 times in paragraph 4, 5, 6. And then again in paragraph 7, it says metered method. And I'm just curious if the resolution directly states direct charge on water bills, direct charge on water utility bills as a direct charge on water bills and meter method. I'm wondering how we would insert under attachment 17, how we would insert yes vacant parcels in that box if that was not part of the resolution.
The
I'm
resolution,
just curious as to, and that's what it says right here. It says, will direct charges also be applied to non-customers who own property in a municipality? It says yes, including vacant parcels.
that was the direction that the consultant was given.
That who was
Now,
given?
that was the direction. Onward Accounting is our consultant for this. That was the direction that they were given.
How were they given? Who gave them that direction to do that?
Well, it would have come from City Hall. Now, as I've mentioned repeatedly, up until now, that was the miscommunication. It was not anybody's particular fault. It was just operating 2 different spheres at the same time. The calculation method that was inserted in the resolution is called equivalent meters method. It's not actual meters. It's a calculation of meters, and that's how they use it to base the cost that you end up charging. Now, it is a method that is used probably, I would say 90% of these cases. That's the rate that that's the method that they use to determine the price. The reason why they do that is because it may or may not include other people who are not currently metered, but are within the water utility district. So they use that as a calculation method. It's all calculation. They don't go on the basis of meters because your meter count may go up or down any one particular year. And so it's meant to reflect the fact that you're trying to figure out, okay, how many meters do we expect to have? And then on that basis, this is the amount we charge. In the case of the public fire protection, now, if you'll notice, I'll also add, if you'll notice, if you calculated up the total cost of the annual billing for meters in the city that the city owns, we own 22 meters, anywhere from 5/8 inch up to 4 inches. That one's down on the marina. If you calculate the total cost for the base rate on the water service, just the retail water service, it's something like $4,700. The cost for the PFP fire rates is $7,600. Your system's designed for fire protection. It's too small to be anything else. You don't need 6-inch pipes for water service in residential areas. You don't. You could get away with a 4-inch if you didn't have fire protection.
I'm
So-
curious, okay.
That's why you're trying to pull it off of the municipal charge, because that number keeps going up, because you're trying to maintain a system that's oversized for what you actually need.
I'm wondering if the application is in direct conflict with the state statute under 19603. Under 3B, it says the person who owns land that is located in the city, village, or town and in an area which the municipality utility has an obligation to provide water for public service protection. If the person owns 2 or more parcels that are adjacent to each other or divided only by a roadway, brook, creek, river, or stream, the municipality may bill the person for only 1 parcel. So I'm wondering if billing someone for those 2 parcels is even legal to do.
Well,
And then if you get into, we can use the word may and the word shall, but then you get into, a term called sententia legis, I believe it's called. That's a term which applies to the intent of the law. And I believe the intent of the law would not have been to bill people. I mean, otherwise we could bill people if they had 6 adjacent properties. You could bill people for 6 properties.
what we're doing now.
I'm saying it's. according to- No, I'm saying that
He's looking up something, or he's looking up something else.
I'm saying just according to state statutes, you can't do that. If I'm reading this correctly.
Go ahead, Eric.
Are these proposed solutions gonna rectify everything?
I don't know.
Yes, it's
gonna be metered
customers only.
So we just move on.
It'll exclude all that. And all of that was approved and judged by the Public Service Commission the first go around, so we
Right.
didn't,
That's true. But
Okay,
the people
so-
Who are billed for those will still have to pay. That's my
until the
question.
Public Service Commission changes it, we do not have the authority to forgive, credit. None of that. We don't have that authority. Public Service Commission is the governing body. That's why what's being proposed tonight is to fast track this. To put it to metered customers
I
only.
guess my point, Mr. Mayor, was that even though we're doing that, I'm wondering if that is a conflict with state statute. Even though we are doing it.
It's,
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying state statute says something different.
well, it's been between myself and Heath, ran through the city attorney. And the Public Service Commission, so unless he feels that we have not yet exhausted our questions on that and gotten sufficient answers, we can ask it again. I'm more than willing to do what you're suggesting, if it not charge or anything like that, but I'm being told we don't have that authority.
Yeah, the final decision amounts to a court order. It was a court order based on the information that they were provided. Now, to the extent that we didn't get it right, or we didn't understand it right, or we didn't apply it right. As you understand it. It's also been mentioned that this is the way it's done in other places, so we must not be the only ones doing it wrong if we are doing it wrong.
Well, we're not doing it the way that we would like to, so
Yeah, but
I guess
looking at it's legal is sort of.
yeah, looking at what's being suggested in our next steps and for a motion is, I believe, going to get the intent of the council fast track to the PSC. Wendy, you got something?
Yeah, so the may not shall, if the person owns 2 or more parcels that are adjacent to each other. Or divided only by a roadway, brook, creek, stream, the municipality may bill the person for only 1 parcel, that it's may not shall. If it were shall, we would have to bill the person for only one parcel, but somebody made a choice to bill
But on the top of,
everyone.
but on the top of 19603, it also says utility charges and service reasonable and adequate.
But
There's a big difference there.
But Heath is, like, I think it's true that a lot of municipalities do it exactly that way. They bill every tax parcel.
I
it's
mean, I
not-
got multiple
and that-
parcels I'm paying
and
as
I know.
well. I mean,
So.
and I know many people, so it's, yeah, that's why before you tonight
Yes,
is an option.
so given that this seems to be the most expedient way to get back to what the council actually voted on, I would make a motion that we authorize application to the PSC for a PFP docket to amend the final decision issued to the city on June 16, 2023. Specifically schedule number F1 to direct the payment of rates only to retail general service customers and remove non-general service customers from the billing process.
So just to clarify, like the council understands, this is gonna be requesting to put it to metered customers only and removing any non-metered customers from the billing. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Go ahead.
With the onward accounting, I think that's great. I'm just wondering, Joanne, is there going to be an additional charge for that? And if so, what is it?
She did say that it was $500.
So say that motion one more time, so everybody's clear, please.
Do you want the clerk or Wendy?
Somebody.
I don't have it written down.
Oh,
because she
okay, it's
wrote that-
right off of what we have, so if you'd like to read it again,
I
Wendy?
will read it again. I move we authorize application to the PSC for a PFP docket to amend the final decision issued to the city on June 16, 2023, specifically schedule number F1 to direct the payment of rates only to retail general service customers and remove non-general service customers from the billing process.
That is the motion before you tonight, which is going to, like I said, remove non-metered customers from the billing. And the rates that were mentioned by the administrator are projected, not guaranteed. Again, the PSC will make those final determinations. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Kathy Brown is absent. John Blaha,
Yes.
Jim Brewster, Wendy Shelton,
Aye.
Janita Zimmerman,
Aye.
Robin Nelson,
Aye.
Jeff Conley,
Aye.
Eric Woznicki.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 8A, presentation for new mural. Aaron Labonte, did I say it right?
Yeah, should I stand up there?
Sure, please come up. Yeah. Welcome.
Hi. I'm Erin Labonte. I am the new middle school, high school art teacher at Kewaunee High School, and I'm also a public artist. So my husband and I have Yonder, which is a storefront in Algoma, and we've done murals throughout that community and Green Bay, Milwaukee, Stevens Point, kind of all over the place. Manitowoc, if you see a painted wall, we probably painted it. And I would like to do a mural here with my students. And so I've been working on this a little bit, and Rob from Bob's Auto of Kewaunee has agreed that we could paint the wall of his facing Parkos Oil Company. And I have been in touch with a few of you, and I know that there are some city ordinances that I need to align with, and I guess I'm here to just find out if I can move forward with this project. My next goal would be to fundraise, and the idea is in collaboration. And again, I don't know how much of this goes through you. It feels like each community I've worked with has had different kind of protocol to work with the community and possibly get approval from you as well, and my students, to create a community focused mural.
I think it's an awesome idea. And I would make a motion to approve the mural on Bob's Auto.
Does it need to go through the planning commission, Heath?
It goes to the planning commission only. So what you're really need to ask is
I'm sorry, we did have a motion.
On the floor.
Yep, sorry, we did have a motion, so is there a second? Second, now we can have discussion, thank you.
When you go to other communities, what kind of
hoops you gotta jump through?
Manasquan has had the most hoops, and that is kind of where I started as a mural artist. I was teaching there for a long time. And they started where there was sign ordinances, basically, you can't paint signs specific to a building because the building could change and it should be community centric or fit into the culture of the community. With them as well, I worked with the city quite a bit to kind of make it easier to do. So we used to have to bring it to city council and then we had to bring it to the building inspection and then it became just emails. There is an agreement that we have signed in past and it's never come back to me and I'm not really sure what would happen if it does because it is paint on a wall. So murals will fade over time. Right now, even we've been repairing the wall dog murals in Algoma, kind of one a summer or something like that. So that is something to think about down the road, but all of the work I've been painting murals now for 15 years is still there and it's all in pretty good condition. So that's the only community that I've had to do paperwork with. And again, kind of to fit the sign ordinance, to say that I'm a responsible player, that the building owner is a responsible player, and then that the city is. So if the mural were damaged or vandalized, that, we would work together to kind of restore the surface. So I'm hoping in fundraising, and I would love it very much if the city would contribute something to this. I'm not sure if that's a possibility. I've been in talks with the chamber and they're talking about it at their next meeting. I'm gonna write a grant through the Build the Future Foundation and the school. So I think it'd be great if there were a lot of players involved in this. But as far as Rob, who said that he would donate something, I was thinking that I would just ask him to restore the wall to white if something like that would happen, so that it wouldn't be something that we would need to be concerned about. And then he wouldn't, that would kind of be his contribution. This is just my thinking right now.
Can you remind us what's your projected cost of the project?
I figured out it will be about $4,000. And that is for supplies and then also for the work of my husband and I as designers outside of the classroom.
When do you project the start date, end date?
I will begin working with students in the second semester, so that will probably be in February. We'll kind of design through until March, and then I figure try to have a finalized design in April and begin painting in May. I don't think it's going to take a particularly long time to paint.
Parade for Hollywood would be a good, donation or a good
Funding source.
Yeah,
Okay.
they would be really good.
Wendy, did you have something? You sure?
Lions Club too.
I would suggest sending this to city finance and let them look at if there's money available and how much.
And if you do any fundraisers, can the city's Facebook site help?
Yeah, we can certainly promote it.
Promote that?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing and
Thank you.
Wherever we
Should
can-
I send an email to
Send
anybody?
it to me, Wendy Shelton.
Wendy Shelton.
And then Heath, should we have her then on the agenda for plan commission?
I've already told her the basic materials.
Steps and everything? Okay,
Yeah,
so you're aware.
She knows it.
Okay, yeah, and if we could just be in touch, I haven't seen any paperwork and I don't know if there is for aligning the
Really, it's
ordinances. I figured that, yeah,
Yeah, just submit the proposal and what your intent is. It's not basically what you just said.
okay, sounds
So we
good.
can forward it to them and we can give them pictures of what the wall is currently. And
Okay.
we can't show them a design, obviously.
No, yeah, but I mean, it's agreed
just
that it will
supporting
be, community centric, so. Something celebrating maritime.
Thank
I think
you.
that's
Thank you very
awesome.
much.
So we do have a motion and a second, and if you want to clarify what your motion is, was it just of supporting the project?
Supporting the project to
yeah.
move forward with it, so.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The dollars we can talk about through finance and recommend it up to council, but we're just looking at the support at this time. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. very
Thank you,
much.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Right, item 8B, adopt, accept 2024 through 2028 capital improvements plan.
So pretty much in your packet since the last meeting, we did get some additional information from the fire department. So what I did was kind of put that into not only the presentation that you got, but then also gave you kind of the ability to see what the fire department was projecting. It was about $2.6 million over the next 4 years. And then they also had some additional items potentially that they would be looking for in the future. So again, what we're looking for from this is either an acceptance or an adoption, whatever the council's kind of pleasure or choice would be. And then what really this does is this document then kind of becomes living and breathing. It is going to be ever changing. And the goal really then is to kind of update this every year, kind of again, just to recap the process. It's typically going to start in May, kind of spend June and July is where we're going to be relooking at everything. We make the updates then in August, and then we kind of have 2 months of presentations. We come here in September, talk about kind of the latest draft. And then October, look for you guys to make, again, another acceptance and agreement. And the reason we do that, again, just to recap, is for when we're going out for bonds. So if you recall, you just went out and you issued the $1 million every 2 years. One of the questions that we get asked as the financial advisor and the staff gets asked is, do you have a long-term financial plan? This is what this document is. It essentially is when they ask that question, you can showcase it, and by having it be officially accepted and adopted, it kind of is that stamp then that the rating agencies, whether it's Moody's or Standard & Poor's or anybody really kind of looks at it. It's also, again, another great document for you as a council, as well as the staff and as well as the community to kind of look at the projects. Again, by adopting this, nowhere are you saying you're doing everything in this plan, but what it does is it allows you to see, okay, here's all the projects, and you can start to think about long-term planning. The other thing that we eventually want to see in here is if you look at this version, everything is kind of being primarily funded through bonds and kind of proceeds. Our goal would eventually be to chip away at that and start moving some of that into the grant categories, into the other categories. And we can do that because now you have a list. So now when we're submitting those grant applications or working with the staff, our hope would be that as we continue to do this every year and year, we chip away at that bond proceeds number so you can see, oh, this would be eligible for the DNR, it would be eligible for this. So again, this is kind of a living, breathing document that our goal is to, as kind of your municipal advisors, to help the staff with it every year and keep bringing it up and kind of update it and looking at different costs. So. There you go. Does anyone have any questions?
I guess the only question I had before was how flexible is that? Because
We
talked about different things at the public, on the public works level, so.
Yeah, and that's kind of the plan. So I mean, as you can see in there, I give you funding options. Again, that is completely going to be up to you as a council of, now the goal is you've got $500,000 roughly in bond proceeds. We can start to kind of look at that. And as we get a pattern of you kind of utilizing that and looking at that, we can give you better projections and kind of update that to have it be more live. But this is kind of your first draft. So again, 5 years from now, I would anticipate this document's going to look completely different because we've gone through the rodeo. We know some different tricks and tips, and hopefully we'll still be working on it. So.
I make a motion to accept this capital improvement plan.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I think we should note that the Father Marquette Playground was already approved for this year and it's listed in 2024, so we're already ahead of our plan.
Perhaps Kiwi Park.
That's right.
Any further discussion? All right, there's no current way of financial impact, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Adam.
You bet. Thank you.
8C, authorized payment number 4 for 2023 CDBG blight elimination, demolition and grading project, Peters Concrete.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Wendy?
Just, it says city will likely return grant funds. How much? I don't think it's very much. Do you know, Heath, how much we're returning? Brandon?
We don't have the total yet. There is gonna be one more payment application after this. We're going through final quantities right now. We get through the project and then we agree on the quantities that we're installing with the contractors. So it'll be one more payment after this. We're still holding retainage on until the project's done. But there's quite a bit left off the top of my head. I don't know the exact number.
You said there's not quite a bit left.
There is quite.
Oh, there is quite a bit
Yeah, I think there's a fair amount left. We utilized as much as we could within the project, obviously.
It had to fit within the scope of the project and the project is complete.
Correct.
Or will be.
And I know Nate did his due diligence in trying to find where we could possibly put that extra money, and nothing was in the guidelines.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. The motion will be to authorize payment number 4 to Peters Concrete in the amount of $136,993.09. Any further discussion? Ready? Please call the roll.
Kathy Brown is absent. John Blau.
Yes.
Jim Brewster.
Aye.
Wendy Shelton.
Aye.
Janita Zimmerman.
Aye.
Robin Nelson.
Aye.
Jeff Conley.
Aye.
Eric Wiznicki.
Motion carried. 8D, adopt a resolution amending resolution number 2023 to 2020, approving a 3-lot certified survey map to amend boundaries of said certified survey map KCDT LLC applicant.
This is for the ongoing Family Dollar Tree development between Bank of Luxembourg and Center Court. The developer submitted a plan set. We responded with comments from Cedar Corp. They didn't like those comments and they said, is there any way we can reduce this thing? And we offered to suggest that they should reverse their plan. In July, we met with the owner of Center Court who agreed with the idea of doing this as sort of a swap, a land swap of sorts. The developer came back with a revised plan set, which is on the second set of the action sheet, that second sheet. And we're gonna basically reverse the future right of way to the other side. We're gonna take about 1,800 square feet of the Center Court property and return to them about 6,200 square feet, which is lot 2 on the proposed CSM. The only thing that we're adding to it is to ensure that the property owner for Center Court has access to that future right of way as an ingress easement until it's actually dedicated. But right now it's intended to be right of way in that area, and then they will be going through the process of development. We've actually had a productive conversation with them at the end of last month on their project plan, and they'll be getting us some a little bit more information. And they're going through the DNR process, and once they're through DNR and they have a notice of intent to proceed, then we can authorize them to actually start doing site work on the site, which they should be able to do in the near future. So staff recommends council adopt a resolution amending resolution number 2023-2020, approving a 3-lot certified survey map to amend boundaries of said survey map CSM to incorporate additional land provided by adjacent property owners and to provide for transfer of land to an adjacent property owner for future development of a street right of way, with the additional condition of the ingress egress easement for the future right of way to be provided on CSM, or move to approve staff's recommendation.
So do I have a motion to approve that? Not the staff recommendation, but to approve the first part, or the staff recommendation if you prefer. Anyone? Go on.
I would make a motion to adopt the resolution amending the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
I'm
carries.
abstaining, just so you're aware.
Do you abstain? All right, AE, authorized issuance of a request for qualifications for the future development of the Hamachek Klockner property, 97 Ellis Street.
Several months ago, council accepted staff's recommendation to reissue an RFQ for the Hamachek Klockner property located at 97 Ellis Street. Doing so, the city would use the available marketing connections that Cedar Corp would provide to try to broaden the outreach of the RFQ to see if the city could recruit additional development interest. The objective of the RFQ sent previously to council but incorporated, I sent it to you last month, is to provide for developers to state their interest and potential development thoughts without committing to full-on development proposal at this stage. That would come after the council determine which developer or developers would be able to continue with the development process. The draft RFQ I included in your packet. And other than a few minor edits, the main issues for scheduling are the release date of the RFQ. The earliest would be tomorrow. A deadline date for initial respondents to submit RFQ responses. The draft indicates up to 2 months out. Staff suggests November. Date is still possible, but probably should be late in the month or early December. And then initial review by the Public Review Committee, if we stay on the committee's time frame, That would be at earliest December 21st, or you could push it into January. We will work with Cedar Corp on the spread of the RFQ. They have a series of connections that they can provide. Following the confirmation of those dates, once council suggests which dates we should incorporate into the draft. The recommended motion should be, I move we authorize staff to issue the request for qualifications for the Amateur Clockner property, or a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Do we have a motion?
You'll want to settle the dates first before you do the motion.
I would just ask that the date be pushed out. You've got Thanksgiving, you've got, you got Thanksgiving in November, then Christmas, December. And then January and New Year's, so I'm wondering if we could push that out. Would it be too unreasonable to push that out to like January 2nd or 3rd?
For the initial respondents?
Yes.
This is-
Is that too far out?
No,
I think that should be fine. Like you said, I mean, given Thanksgiving and the holidays and stuff, it might be a little more advantageous to be a little bit longer of a period than normal, and that would even longer than that be.
well, January 2nd or 3rd is either a Tuesday or Wednesday. We could move it out to the, I mean, if you moved it out to the 5th, that would still give them plenty of time to respond, and that would be a Friday
So that, yeah, January 5th. seems like a good-
for the response, and then public property could review it at their January meeting.
And this is all ready to go, so so it can just be sent off tomorrow.
We'll have to, insert the dates and get the draft off of it, and then we can shoot it over. I would think we should be able to get that done tomorrow.
I make a motion to authorize staff to issue the request for qualifications for the Havlicek Clockner property.
I'll second.
So that, did you want to include in that motion the 5 January,
Do we necessarily?
or is that needed, Heath? No?
All we needed was direction on
The
that.
direction on
Yeah,
that?
it'll just be in-
All right, so we have a motion for the RFQ. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Who seconded that again?
I did wait.
Thank you. 8F, approve construction proposal to remove and replace concrete curb, gutter, and sidewalk and install ADA ramp at City Municipal Building, Mertens Construction and Concrete LLC.
Public Works has received one estimate to remove and replace concrete around the city municipal building that is crumbling and in poor condition, so as to improve safety along the north side of the building. The attached estimate from Mertens Construction and Concrete details the total amount of replacement of curb, gutter, and sidewalk, improvement of a wheelchair ramp, and inclusion rebar reinforcement with a total cost of $16,830. Public Works budget has sufficient funds to pay for this. Staff recommends approval of the proposal from Mertens Construction and Concrete in the amount of $16,830. Public Works Committee also recommended approval of this. Staff will contact Mertens following if this is approved and signed by either the city administrator or Public Works Superintendent, the proposal itself to authorize the work project. And then staff will follow up with scheduling. So the staff's recommended motion is a move that we approve a proposal from Mertens Construction and Concrete LLC for concrete removal and replacement at the city municipal building in the amount of $16,830, or move to approve staff's recommendation.
It should be noted that Nathan did go out and get 3 or 4 more bids. And he got no response. This was the only response he had gotten back, so.
I make a motion that we approve Mertens Construction for the concrete removal and replacement of the city municipal building in the amount of $16,830. And it is going to be done this year,
I'll second. Any further discussion?
correct? Everybody hear me just fine, so, okay.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Kathy Brown is absent, John Waha, Jim Brewster.
Aye.
Wendy Shelton.
Aye.
Janita Zimmerman.
I,
Robin Nelson.
Aye.
Jeff Conley.
Aye.
Eric Wisniewski.
Aye.
Sorry.
Motion carried. 8G, authorize application for local road improvements program, LRIP, for municipal street improvement program, discretionary and supplemental, MSIP, MSID, MSIS, funds for city street projects.
Yeah, the LRIP program, 2024-2025 program cycle has begun. The current biannual cycle includes municipal street improvement program funds for the city of Kewaunee in the amount of $14,383.51. In addition, the city can apply for municipal street improvement discretionary and supplemental funds through a statewide competitive application process. The MSID and MSIS grants are for projects with a minimum project cost of $250,000. The MSID is a 50-50 match, so a project of $250,000 would cost the city $125,000 if the grant is awarded. MSIS has a much lower match total, although it's programmed at 90-10 state city match, but that program also tries to lower the percentage of support to spread the funding around. And Todd Every of the County Highway Department had indicated that some of those had gone as low as 70-30 match. Staff has discussed possible projects for this grant application, have reviewed it with Public Works Committee, and the one that was supported was to apply for a program on Main Street, which would run from Kewaunee Street south to the turn to Center Street, then west to Milwaukee Street. Staff estimates this project would come in well over $250,000, though we have Cedar Corp working on an opinion of probable cost. And the project includes significant water, sewer, storm sewer, and other work that would increase the project cost. It is included in the 2024-2028 CIP. In addition, another project that staff could consider in funding in coordination with the town of West Kewaunee is to repave Adams Road, which is co-owned by the city and the town. This project area is not very wide and thus might be eligible either for the MSID or MSIS, or perhaps even the town equivalent versions of those same grants. If the town agrees to apply for those grants, the project minimum budget is much lower. It's $100,000. We haven't as yet had those detailed discussions with the town, so it's not entirely clear that one would actually happen. But if it did, we'd encourage the town to do the lifting on the application itself. It's anticipated to be installed, but this is included as part of the CIP as noted. At their Public Works meeting, they, again, as I said, agreed to recommend the application for the Main Street project. With that, staff has a recommended motion I move we authorize staff to prepare and submit grant applications to the LRIP for the Municipal Street Improvement Program, including entitled funding and discretionary and supplemental funding, or move to approve staff's recommendation.
I'll make a motion to move to approve staff recommendations.
You want staff's recommendation or, okay, that's fine. That's what he recommended. So we have a motion. Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
One thing to add to that too, we'll submit an ITA to the Clean Water Fund and Safe Drinking Water Loan Program for the Main Street project as well, just to get on the priority list. That way, if anything comes up at all, you're on the list. If you want to try and utilize that funding for future reference, that's something we just keep free agenda.
Remind me what ITA is.
Intent to apply.
Yes.
Basically gets you on the scoring list.
Yep.
It's the first step to utilizing those funds. So we'll submit the application for that project. We do at the end of the month, so that's good.
All right, item 8H, lead action level exceedance and city required responses. The water utility received a lead action level exceedance notice dated September 11, 2023 from the DNR, which I've attached. Notifying the utility we had exceeded the limits of the permissible lead levels in some of our water samples in the most recent testing at that point. As a result, the water utility needs to conduct more robust water sampling, increasing frequency, increasing testing, certification of results, along with educational materials to be distributed across the water utility, as well as preparation of the corrosion control treatment recommendation worksheet. I have included the schedule of requirements in the here, although I've also included, it's also part of the letter. Basically, by the end of November, we have to have collection of sampling and submission for lab for testing, with a second set of tests to be completed by the end of November. By the end of December, we have to have a collection of a single sample from every entry point into the system, testing for lead and copper, and forwarding the results to DNR. The end of November, also, we have to have public education materials first distributed across the water utility to all metered customers.
as well as to communicate to other group facilities that don't normally get these types of things, such as nursing homes, apartments, mobile home parks, and so on. Within 10 days of the public education delivery, we're supposed to submit a report to the DNR documenting completion of those requirements. And then we're supposed to keep doing that every time we do a billing until we clear their protocol system, which could occur as early as January, as we've been told, although it may go longer depending on how that works. And then by the end of March, we're supposed to have our corrosion control treatment worksheet completed and identified, sent to them, which identifies what we need to do to reduce lead levels in drinking water. Staff, which is to say me and Tony Sinkula, had a conference call with DNR staff to go over the requirements that are stipulated by state law. Discussion focused on several elements. One, that the public education program needs to be repeated until the samples come back. If the samples we've taken come in below that limit as of the December testing, utility will not need to continue the PE program after January 1. Coordination of the public education with county health, so that if people have information, county health is aware that we're having to do this, so they're not getting bombarded by requests for information, if they at least know it's coming, to coordinate information with them. The assumption is that the samples came from lead laterals rather than sourced within the overall utility. Samples were typically collected at the user point. The two high samples triggered the ALE, likely were from lead laterals. The difficulty is that this ALE response is immediate and then continuous over a 2-year period, after which continued compliance will reduce the sampling required frequency. However, during the CCT compliance period, the city sampling requirement increases from 10 sites to 20 sites. The DNR further suggested that a possible CCT response is to change the chemical treatment the city uses on the water supply, the one that further reduces lead intake for pipes in the system. It's a sort of a chemical additive you add that doesn't cause any problems for people, but it basically keeps the lead in the pipe rather than emptying onto the water. One good result that comes out of this is that an ALE increases the grant funding success for removing lead laterals, because grant programs prioritize locations where lead levels need to be reduced. Grant applications score higher with the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program, as well as rural development grants from USDA. So if there's one bright side to this, is that we increase our chances of success with getting money from outside sources to take out lead laterals or replace them with non-lead alternatives. In terms of programs, this one doesn't require any approval from council because we don't have a choice. We are doing this and that's the way it is. So staff is working with the DNR to do the things we have to do to get in compliance. And the costs will just simply be absorbed out of the water utility fund. Most of that will have to deal with just the testing. Unfortunately, Tony is going to get paid to have to do a lot more samples and getting people to do more samples and recruiting and that sort of thing. But aside from that, most of the cost will be absorbed in the testing parameters from the lab. So if anybody has any questions, Tony is also here in case you have specific questions for him. But otherwise, that's all we have.
Anyone have any questions?
Is this any information you should be working on communicating to the public via our website or?
We will have to include some of that as part of our method. People will be getting a notice in their bill that says, here's lead lateral stuff. We have a thing, and it's really kind of a form process. But we will communicate some of that on our web pages to say that this is not something that isn't it. The usual problem is that as even the DNR will admit, the problem is that people will get this thing and they'll start panicking. I'm drinking lead in my water. And it's like, no, actually, you're probably not. Most of the lead is probably coming from lead laterals that are going right to the one source. And they're not part of the overall system. So the stuff doesn't spread. It just comes from the pipe through the water right up into somebody's house. So if anybody's got a lead lateral, they may have a problem, but the overall system shouldn't have a problem because that's where we found the source. That's where we understand the source to be.
Okay, any other questions? Tony, come on up.
So to go what he had said, I know he went through pretty quick, but he is 100% accurate with everything he said there. A sampling was done already that I need to do to get to see what the water is and what it make sure that's not our source and stuff like that. That was done the past 2 weeks. So I'll be getting results back for that. But like I was telling the Public Works Committee the other day, I don't believe it's anything to do with the groundwater or the source water essentially. Because, you know, of the 10 samples I did, 2 of them were bad. All right, so you have to have the 90th percentile, which is 9 of 10 have to be good to be passing. The ones that were not passing were 2. Well, they're bachelors, like I was telling you guys, and they don't use a whole lot of water. So, and they have pure lead laterals as far as that too. So you can take that into consideration. The more water you use, less chance you're gonna have of having a higher concentration of lead in your lateral, if you have a lead lateral. That being said, too, where did I go with this? That we discussed, you know, where, you know, about how many laterals I think we have in town. I said about 300, which is still a good fair share of it for, you know, essentially First Street to the east. You know, it's not First Street, but from that is the cutoff back to the east is where everything would be more or less lead yet. The corrosion control too, that is, like I said, a possibility. Wendy, not this Wendy Anderson, the DNR lady. She said that because we use polyphosphate, Aquamag, I think the actual name of it is, but we need different blood, so a little more potent to make that lining of the lead pipe be stronger, I guess, as a bigger barrier from the water to the pipe, the material itself. And that's like I said, that's a possibility of, we may have to do that. But however, we already treat with phosphate, so we would have to get new equipment, everything would work the same, just changing the chemical itself. But I'm sure you guys are gonna be getting phone calls and you're gonna hear all the crap about that again. Was one thing and leads to another as far as that, but essentially, is the water safe to drink? I would say yes. As far as I haven't got those results back yet, but if it be not safe, my other 8 sample I took would have had obviously action levels then too, and they were nowhere near that. They were 15 is the action level, and the rest of the 8 were not even 1. So
This has all the DNR oversight and everything all the way along, the whole
Yeah,
process.
and if it was something that they were really drastically, you know, serious about, it would have been everyone notified right away, boom, 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 you know, so. And to be honest with you, that I asked Wendy Anderson, I said, is this something I did? She said, no, she said, I'm surprised this hasn't happened earlier for you guys, being that there's this much lead in town. That hasn't something that happened, hasn't been a problem sooner, so.
So the moral of your story is run your water more, take
Yeah,
more showers and
yeah,
flush
run
your
that water.
toilet more.
Thank you, Tony. Any other discussion? All right, if not, then we'll move on to item 8I, request for refund, rezoning application for Jeff Stengel.
In June of last year, Mr. Stengel submitted a rezoning application for request for rezone a parcel of land along Baumeister Street from R1 to B1 local business. Subsequent discussions with the Plan Commission caused Mr. Stengel to withdraw the application for consideration. During this discussion, Plan Commission supported refunding the application fee of $275 that he had submitted with his application. Council is authorized to issue those refunds, but it should be noted that per the attached affidavit, the public notice advertisement had already been published by the Press Gazette with run dates of June 29 and June 30. So we paid for those runs, whether we wanted to or not, since this advertisement was for 2 applications. Staff took the ad and divided it into 3s. Mr. Stengel's portion would have cost approximately $47.72 based on the billing. Therefore, staff suggests if council elects to refund the application fee, the amount paid for the advertisement should be subtracted from the refund. So that is our recommendation to approve issue a refund to Mr. Jeff Stengel in the amount of $227.28, or move to approve staff's recommendation.
We have a motion to refund Mr. Stengel in the amount of $227.28. Motion. Is there a second? You seconded? No, oh, I'm sorry. Heard somebody say something. Is there a second?
Second. Why is this staff, no, can you discussion?
Now we can, yes.
Why is the staff recommending only like $47?
Because the original ad was actually for 2 applications that went to the Plan Commission, so we subtracted the 1/3 of it that was for the other application from the fee. So in order to figure that out, we basically took the fee, divided it by 3, and then we got 2/3 of the cost for that notice that we published.
Any further discussion or questions? Please call roll.
Kathy Brown is absent. John Blaha.
Yep.
Jim Brewster.
Aye.
Wendy Shelton.
Aye.
Janita Zimmerman.
Aye.
Robin Nelson. Jeff Conley.
Aye.
Eric Wozniacki.
Motion carried. 8J, authorized Class B combination retail license to Harbor View Hospitality Group LLC, DBA Portical, 310 Milwaukee Street. Randy Vandenack, agent.
Portical Restaurant was recently sold to a new operator identified as Harbor View Hospitality Group LLC, who is seeking to transfer the license into its name. New licensee requested premises including 310 Milwaukee Street, the entire restaurant bar building, the entire property, porches, decks, sheds, patios, docks, boardwalk, lawn, parking lot, outdoor coolers and storage areas. We're not exactly sure where the outdoor coolers are, but at any rate, they basically wanted the entire property. Attached is the map of the property as provided by the applicant, and then if you note the outside boundary line is depicted does not match the premises located according to property records. The drawing I have inserted in your package shows that the property line actually runs through the front end of the building, and that the storage shed that they're using for their liquor storage is actually in the right of way. So theoretically, Wisdot could take that building out at any time because it's actually on their property. What we're noting is that the right of way line actually cuts into the front facade. Transferring an existing license is subject to the same requirements with the exception of the following. License is only for the property itself. Storage shed is not technically on the property. The license requires all liquor storage to be on the premises. Therefore, we've informed the applicant that he needs to move his storage shed onto the site. The applicant is requesting sales of the liquor on docks and along the boardwalk. I've discussed this with the mayor. I don't really have an objection to the boardwalk per se. We can't issue anything on a dock because it's technically not on the property. It's in over the water, and that's not subject to city regulation. They would have to go through the Wisconsin Department of Revenue for anything that's sold over the water, basically.
And Heath, if you want to add to that, the portion that the city has the easement to is also abutted to that secondary tax parcel. So it's not even attached, right?
Yeah, it's not even technically part of this parcel. That is another piece. Property shown in the on the application is actually 2 tax parcels. Because license regulations limit sales to a single parcel, staff recommends excluding liquor sales from the parcel shown on the parcel map as OTP 68 pending combining that property with the parent tract, which is OTP 71. The applicant also included possible sales of liquor from the restaurant, which could be taken onto boats. Again, this is subject to state regulation. The city doesn't control the transport of liquor following purchase. So with that in mind, staff is recommending approval of the transfer of the combination Class B liquor license from Water's Edge Enterprises LLC to Harbor View Hospitality Group, with the stipulation that liquor sales are authorized only for 310 Milwaukee Street, which is to say tax parcel number 31241 OTP 71 shall be restricted from off-property sales. And that storage of liquor shall be located on the licensed property. Or move to approve staff's recommendation.
In a nutshell, what are we saying here? Is that everything outlined in the yellow? So we're approving?
You're approving everything that applies to OTP 71. 68 is not actually part of the parcel.
Clarify, John, everything outlined in yellow is illustrating what he owns
Okay, so his parking lot,
or thinks he owns.
his parking lot would be included?
Not all.
Not the whole thing, because there's 2 tax parcels. You see the other tax parcel there to the east?
Right here?
That little tax parcel, that area is not included with this liquor license.
So that is the city's tax parcel, correct?
No, it's
No,
there.
actually,
That's his, but
That's his ownership. It's not part of the parent parcel. We're only allowed to authorize it on a parcel basis.
on one.
We're only allowed to authorize liquor sales on a single parcel basis.
On a single parcel.
All of that.
Yeah.
It's only
So
parking.
we would have to combine them in order to sell it.
Taking liquor
on that parcel.
over in that
And it also, the yellow line is submitted with his application also includes actually what amounts to
Which
Wisdot right away. So
This is
the shed has to
this is
be
the
moved
way it should be.
onto the property, because right now it's in the right of way.
One parcel right here.
The shed is in the right of way.
He's grandfathered in on that building, but that one's.
That shed is actually, that's his, old storage building, I think.
Might be cold storage, but he's got liquor in there, so he has to move all of it out and move it to somewhere else on the site.
Well, that'll be up to the new owner.
No, that's what.
So does everybody understand that the property there has actually two tax parcels? Part of the building facade is on Wisdot property, which that's gonna be grandfathered in. And it's just gonna be for on-site sales like everywhere else in the city.
They can sell, yes, okay, never mind.
I would so move.
All right, so is there a second?
Okay,
We have a motion and a second to approve the transfer of a combination class beer.
It's not transferring.
Well, that's what I'm reading in the
I
motion.
know, but it's not a transfer.
Well, what it,
It's
What
it's
is
an
it?
applicant.
so it's not a transfer, it's just a new applicant.
To approve a combination class B liquor license
The application.
for Harbor View Hospitality Group LLC on the premise at 310 Milwaukee Street, tax parcel number 31-241 OTP 71, shall be restricted from off-property sales and the city maintained boardwalk.
You can remove that and the city maintained boardwalk. I didn't include that.
It's not city maintained.
Okay, remove that then.
Restricted, you want me to read it for you?
Please, yes, let's cover it again.
I move you approve a combination Class B liquor license for Harbor View Hospitality Group LLC for the premises at 310 Milwaukee Street, tax parcel number 31-241 OTP 71, shall be restricted from off-property sales, and that storage of liquor shall be located on the licensed property.
Okay, that's the motion and the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
You seconded that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was Wendy first, right?
Okay.
All right, 8K. Authorized pay increase for Pamela Lathrop Rotes of 25 cents per hour, backdated to the hours worked from August 10th.
so the library board approved this pay increase. And it does not affect any of the budgeting. Because she's still coming in under budget for her staff. Correct?
What we did is went back to historically the way those positions are set up into more of a. One position is on 28.75, the other is 21.75. The previous employees had wanted to split that equally and they were each doing 25 hours. When one left, Pam assumed more hours and she left to stay at those hours. And then I hired a new person, and so I'm differentiating basically those positions. And so there's no increase at all to the budget.
No.
And to be clear, the library board has that authority to do the hiring and rate increase within the budget authorized by the city. So
Correct.
just so. we're clear.
And it's just basically like Carol said, just
There's no increase at all.
no,
Right.
no.
All right, then we'll move. Any questions on that?
Well,
It's. All you would need is pro forma decision by the council to basically authorize the increase.
Can we not just do a motion process?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a simple motion.
I'll make a motion to approve that 25 cent per hour increase for Pamela Lathrop Rotes.
I'll second it.
Gina. Okay, any further discussion?
Backdated, right?
Yes.
Backdated.
Yes.
All right, please call the roll.
Kathy Brown is absent, John Blaha, Jim Brewster,
Aye.
Wendy Sheldon, Janita Zimmerman,
Aye.
Robin Nelson,
Aye.
Jeff Conley,
Aye.
Eric Wozniacki.
Aye. Motion carries. 8L, financial reports, month ending August 2023.
So the finance committee reviewed this. There's just the one issue that we talked a little bit about, the Wisconsin Capital Solutions. We are over. The council had authorized 6 months of payment to them. We're now at 7 months, so I think we're beyond where we can write that next check. And it would be nice for them to come in and talk to us.
Yeah, I'll talk to Heath. Heath and I can reach out to them and try to have them here next month. So
Wisconsin Capital Solutions is the
lobbying
is a
firm.
lobbying group that was looking
Grants.
for grant money and funding.
You hired one from Marina.
Anything else concerning the financial reports for August? If not, we'll move on to item 9, announcements. I'd like to wish my wife a happy wedding anniversary today. And respectfully thank her for allowing me to serve the great citizens of Kewaunee. So
Well, happy anniversary.
So many years.
30.
30. Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe this is kind of nice for her. She's.
It could be, yeah, she's like, why is your meeting done already? Any other announcements? We have a motion to adjourn in a second. Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried.